in Oslo, Norway. I'm a Microsoft MVP and an Zero ambassador. I'm here to talk about NGRX or NGXS or Akita. Which one should you choose? This is an overview of these three Angular state management libraries. So let's start. So this is NGRX, the most popular state management library in Angular. So it uses both the Redux and RxJS. It's better to show you a diagram here. So in NGRX, the component gets the data through selector here, where the selector gets the data from the store, just a single source of truth of your application. The component can also make changes in the store through dispatching an action. Now the action here, there are two types of actions here. The one with side effects. So the effects handles the request to a web service here and returns the data. And the action without sending request to web service goes directly to reducer. Now this action carries two things: the data and what the reducer should do, also known as action types. So this is NGRX. So this is a sample of Angular application using NGRX, and it has two features, heroes and villains. You can see here. Let's go to the code. So here's a NGRX here repo. And whenever I'm building an NGRX application, so I have this process like step by step in order to create this state management design inside the application. So first, a model, of course. And then after I'm writing a model, I go to services. I write services if there's need to send requests to a web service. So here's a sample of service. Nothing special here, actually. Just plain service. And then next step is to write some action types. So these are samples of action types, and these are basically instructions for the reducer. It tells what it needs to do, what needs to happen. So here it is: create success, create fail. So as you can see here, it's passing a string here. It's kind of like a label, and then props for the data here, right? And then after writing some action types, I go to directory of effects. Then start writing some effects. So this is this sample of effects using NGRX version 8 and 9. You see this $sign suffix. Here it is: create effect, and it's using actions and pipes, merge map, and then the service itself. So whenever you see an effect like this, using decorator, meaning you're using version 7 of NGRX below. So just heads up, you start building NGRX and go to Google. Most of the, there are cases that you'll see this because you know, how we used to write effects. Okay, so let's go back to the code. Yeah, and then after writing the effects, uh, time to write some reducers. So this is a sample of a reducer. So it collects the action. So here, for example, hero reducer. And then you have this hero action types, load heroes, and basically changing the updating the state here. Success. So this is the request and success. Copy all the state and then uh, you know, replace the hero's property of this object here. Let's see it here, the hero state. And you have delete here, delete success, delete fail, great success, great fail. You're not required to write this fail fence here, or actually for you're you're not required to write action failures here, or even in action types. This is just helpful for debugging though. So yeah, after the reducer, so here it's time to set up the store. So this is the index file inside the store directory, and as you can see here, I'm just combining all the reducers here, and with some selectors, so it retrieves the state and the data from the store here. Example here, and then here again, so it can be available in any component. And then after setting this up, you can now start using it, or using it in any components. For example, this one. See here, select hero state, and then so here's fetch heroes function I created, where get calls inside the ng on init. First, we'll send an action to the reducer via the dispatch here. We have to pass it inside this dispatch action in order for the reducer to receive it. And then here's the select. So you know that after this, there will the heroes or the state will have this data coming from the web service, and then we can retrieve it here. So, and aside from that, you also have to update your app module here, root module. Oops. With store module for root here, and this effects module for root as well. It's not much. Yeah, so basically that's it for the NGRX. So this is yep, these are the steps. For me, it's better to have this kind of process or steps, so that, because it's hard to remember all of this. So I normally go here. So writing models first, and then services, then action types, and then effects, and then the reducer, then the store, where you combine all the reducers and selectors. And in your components, now you can use the selectors there to retrieve data, and dispatch here also in your components. So dispatchers are responsible for sending actions. Here's actions, yeah, to the reducer. So yeah, this is it. Now it's time to move to NGXS. So this is another state management library for Angular. Has a single source of truth store, and this is a diagram of NGXS. We have a component here that gets the data from store through select, and also dispatches actions. And then the action, of course, can mutate the data inside the store. Thing here is it doesn't have that concept of effects or side effects. Yeah, so basically that's the only difference between NGRX and this NGXS. Now, let me show you the repository for NGXS. So here's the sample code. So again, first things first, writing the models. Here's a sample of a model, the model hero here. Then after this, write some services. So here, sample service, nothing special as well. And after writing service here, go writing some action types. So here's a sample of action types in NGXS. Yep. So that's NGXX action types. And now after this, I start writing state and selectors. So where's the state here? Here's the state file of NGXS. So you have hero state model here. Basically the schema of the heroes here, heroes feature, and then you're using a state decorator here, passing the hero state model. And some selectors. See here, there's a lot of decorators here. And the actions here we go. And patching the state or updating it, mutating it, if you will. So here's delete action here. Yeah, let's get state, set state, patch state. Here's an optimistic update. I think this is a better example here. Get state again, patch state. Have this function here. Just mutate the state. So yeah, without using any effects. So after this state and selectors and action, so actually this already the store or the the reducer in NGRX. Because see here, this is where you mutate the object of your single store, of your store. Mutating the state. So then after writing this, you can now start going to components. And dispatching actions here. And what else can you do here? Oh, where's the select? I have observable converters here that converts the select to usable properties inside your class. So here, set fair this, then using observable in a template, or using sync pipe. So so fewer steps, maybe just fewer than because without effects. So basically fewer codes than NGRX. So this is NGXS. So here are the process. So here it is, adding models and services. Then you go write some action types, and then the state file, which has the states, the model state, selectors here, and then the store, the action, or the store. So these states and selectors and this action store here can be separated on each file, or can be written in the same file. And then finally, the selects and dispatchers in components. And lastly, let's move to the last, Akita. It's another state management library built on top of RxJS. So this one is different from the two. Let me show you a diagram. It has a query here, and then also has a store, and then components here, sends actions, services, and updates the store. Now, this is the diagram. It's better if you can see the code. Let me show you the code. By the way, NGXS has also, let's say, support Redux DevTool support. So that's in Akita, so you can use Redux DevTool to debug in all of these state management libraries. Let's go to Akita. So again, here's the model. So writing the model first, and see this is a different one. Importing this Akita API from Akita npm module. Then you have to bring in ID and entity state. Here's your model. So basically creating another hero state there where it extends entity state and hero model. So you'll see this entity state, what it does, what it can do for you. So after this model, go to store. Where's the store? Oh no, this one. Writing the store here. Nothing much. This is the store. Totally different from the two. So it's just extending entity store, built-in state, and the model itself. And then after writing store, so You can now start writing services. Here's the service. It's using this transaction decorator from Akita, and yeah, it changes the state of the store here. So there are magics here happening. It's mutating the state, deleting it here, creating another object of hero. It's updating the hero. So this is the APIs. So after this, you can start writing queries. So this is the query in Akita, and then just extending the query entity here, and then creating your own. This is just computed values. So there's a magic happening behind here. So after this, you can go straight to components. There's component, and what you'll find here are this hero square here, where it has a bunch of utilities. So this is the query that will help you do different kinds of actions, like get active, active ID, get all, get count, get entity, has cache, and this is your custom one, get total number, just computed inside the query. We have get value, has active, has entity, so select first, everything. So yeah, this is Akita. Pretty much very simple with a lot of magic, which is for me it's good. It keeps you away from writing a lot of boilerplate. And yeah, fetching here, your queries, select all. That's how you fetch the data. Query the data, for example, a collection here. And so again, these are just the overview of the tree. And let's go back to Akita. So this is how we'd write Akita application, write the models, and then the store, and after the store, services, and then queries, and then you can start dealing with the components. So we're almost done here. Conclusion, NGRX became better starting from version 8. There are changes. If you want to see, you can go to the docs. NGXS, on the other hand, doesn't need effects like NGRX does. And then Akita provides lesser boilerplate than the other two state management libraries and gives you extra utilities. Links, here's NGRX link, NGXS, and Akita, and these repositories can be found here. You can download the repositories from these links. And yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. So, yeah, thank you for listening.